To market on close, Nvidia is not the only tech name reporting after the close today. Palo Alto Networks is set to report its earnings, with the street expecting EPS of 89 cents on revenue of $2.46 billion. Investors will be watching for more insight into its acquisition of CyberArk following approval from CyberArk shareholders last week, as well as several other key metrics that will be very important in their earnings report. But that, of course, means it's time for Options Corner. Joining us now, Rick Ducat, our lead market technician here on Schwab Network, to take a closer look at Palo Alto Networks before we get their report after the bell.
Yeah, lagging behind the broader market as well as the tech sector. The tech sector's been the outperformer, so it's kind of doubly disappointing for Palo Alto. Bulls up about 3.7% on the year. XLK ETF up about almost 22% here. And really, if we think about what's been going on lately, AI presents some very interesting opportunities for cybersecurity, but also as Palo Alto said recently, seismic shifts in risk. They put out 6 predictions for the AI economy recently. 2026's new rules of cybersecurity. Some stuff we've heard about before. Doppelgangers and deepfakes vastly increase the risk of forgery and authenticity crises. A couple other things I didn't really think about. Data poisoning, corrupting AI training data at its source, and the silo between data scientists and the security teams, as well as potential legal risks for executives that could be held responsible for the actions of their rogue AIs. That'll be interesting to see if that ever comes to pass here.
Yeah, it certainly will be, things that you don't think about, but when this is your company, those are the things that they're aware of happening, and if they're aware of them, they're likely already probably happening in some small scale. As we take a look at them just as a standalone company and take a look at their technical setup going into their earnings, what is it indicating to us? Because you've already mentioned it is, underperforming the more broad market.
I can't tell you how much the phrase rogue AI scares me also, first of all, just a side note there. But when we look at our chart more specifically, moderating trend, we had a sharp, steep climb to the upside here after our big decline when that acquisition of CyberArk was announced here. But then, as is often the case, the gap was filled. The trend continued on to the upside. We topped out near 223.61. From there, we had more of a symmetrical triangle type shape here, but we dropped below that point. We formed a notable high point at an old low near 207 here, so that remains an upside area to watch out for. But we've held on so far at these old lows near 198, so that would be the downside area that sticks out. When we look at our other studies here, we can see that our 63-day EMA and our 21-day EMA, those are just above current prices. The 63-day lines up quite closely with that 207 level. But to the downside, our 252-day, our long-term EMA, that comes in near 191. That could be another supportive area to consider. Finally, when we look at our other studies here, our volume profile and standard deviation channels, we can see that for our volume profile, heavy trading between about 195 to 205. We also have our teal linear regression line, our line of best fit, 203 or so, 202. That would be the idea of fair value based on that study. So by one measure, we're basically right where you would expect.
Yeah, and very close to that level right now of that fair value level, trading at just above 201 right now. As far as how the analyst community is looking at Palo Alto going into their earnings, what are their thoughts?
Mostly positive. In the past week or so, we saw price target raises from Rosenblatt, Mizuho, BMO Capital, D.A. Davidson, Cantor Fitzgerald, and Baird. All of the price target raises came in between 230 to 250 or so. All of them kept their buys. So pretty positive analyst coverage, not necessarily these huge price target changes, but all of them bullish, all of them kind of focused in the same range as well, which I found kind of interesting.
Yeah, we get these AI names, and I think we expect to see these numbers that are so far beyond where we're currently trading. But there are some AI names who are not trading in such wide ranges and not quite as volatile as some of the other names that we see. But as far as the options activity going into their earnings event, knowing that they are trading lower, are we seeing more action than usual?
The sizzle is about 2.9, so 2.9 times the 5-day average of options volume. That comes in just shy of 62,000 contracts here. 45% calls, so a greater skew toward puts today. That's not typically what you would see there. If we were to look at December 19th, 30 days out, options market looking for about a 10.8% move. That's our boundaries between our two purple lines there. So notice as well that 230 area that all those analysts had, it's a bit above that range here, but it is pretty close to where we would see doji, our +2 standard deviation channel right now. Just a snapshot of this moment in time, though, just kind of coincidentally lines up with that area.
Yeah, so expected move 195 to 205-ish in terms of what the options traders are pricing. And as far as any notable trades, did you see anything that stuck out to you today?
The biggest trade in terms of volume and dollar amount, minus 1,000 December 19th, 200 strike calls at an 11.15 credit. So that equates to $1.1 million. Unclear if opening or closing, but probably closing. It would have already been in the money if it were an opening trade at the time it was done.